Bob Cooney from the Philadelphia Daily News. Last night, after 3 tries at this, they finally hit the nail right on the head there. They're the number 1 pick in the draft. And I guess, I don't want to say validate some things, but this is what they've been trying to do, right? They just keep stockpiling talent and the hope that they would get that top-level opportunity. That doesn't mean they're going to get the top-level player, but the top-level opportunity, and they finally got it last night.
Yeah, you know what, Mike? It opens up options. I mean, anytime you have the first pick, you have plenty of options. I'm sure Jerry Colangelo has already gotten plenty of phone calls today from other teams asking him, what it might take, and he'll listen to different offers, and he might put some things out there. So as set in stone as it may be, and maybe there's a good probability that they'll take either Simmons or Ingram with that pick, there's also a possibility that they could do other things, and that's what, getting the top pick, that's the luxury it brings.
It also is, I think, a help that they can go into the draft now with a plan. They know who they want to take. They should know, anyway, who they want to take, as opposed to waiting to see who falls to you. They can really start to try to map out some things, the direction they want their offseason to go. That's really another benefit of getting this pick.
Yeah, and another part of it is you have to know by the 23rd, like, where is Joel Embiid at this point of his recovery, and is Dario Saric going to come over? And once you find out those two things, does that affect who you take with that first pick, or does it affect what you're going to do with that first pick? So, they have their work cut out for them there. I think I know within the next couple of weeks that they're going to go see Dario Saric and see where he is as far as wanting to come over here, or if he indeed is going to leave Turkey and play here. And then, of course, keep up on Joel Embiid, hopefully have a better feel by June 23rd of what his progression is, and then move forward from there. So, yeah, you're closer to answers than you are questions, the questions has been really the key subject in the past.
So, Bob, what does this now do for them in terms of the team that they could potentially put out there? How big of an opportunity do they have in front of them when they draft on the 23rd, I guess it is? What's that, Thursday night, the 23rd?
Yeah, the 23rd. It's interesting. I mean, people look at it. I was talking to a few people this morning at a function that I had to go to, and they're like, we just can't wait to get to the playoffs. And I had to kind of put the brakes on a little bit, like, wait a second. They won 10 games this year. It's nice that they got this pick, that maybe Embiid comes back, that maybe Saric is there. But rarely do teams in the NBA improve by 25 games from one year to the next. To do that still only takes them to 35 wins. That wouldn't have gotten them into the playoffs this year. So it's still going to be a few years of building and finding out what you have and seeing how all the pieces fit together. And this gets you closer. This gets you a lot of people that are NBA worthy. And gives the Sixers a chance to really look at them and move forward that way. But as far as getting the first pick, just lending itself to everything turning around quickly and as close as next year, that really isn't the case.
So many times, Bob, you can get the number 1 pick and there's a transcendent player. Other times you get Michael Olowokandi. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but what is your take on their opportunity with most likely one of 2 players being considered right now? Was this a good year to end up with that number 1 pick?
Not the great. It's funny. I was looking back to the draft picks. It's not Tim Duncan. It's not LeBron James. It's not Kyrie Irving. I really don't think that I put those 2 in that class. And, a lot changes about those guys. I mean, LeBron James was a man-child when he came out. He didn't need to be 21, 22 years old to see what he was going to be. Timmy Duncan was a polished player then. These 2 are painfully young. Brandon Ingram just turned 18 in September. He's 195 pounds on a 6'10" frame. There's a lot to go there. Ben Simmons, you worry about his maturity and some of the stuff that has been said and stuff that went on at LSU. So talent-wise, these are by far the 2 best in this draft. There's no question about it. But what does that mean? Does it mean it's a weaker draft? Does it mean that these guys are transcendent players? I'm not ready to go there. I'm not ready to say they aren't. I'm just ready to say that it's way too early to tell.
Bob, when this process started for the draft, not the Sixers process, but the draft, it was Ben Simmons. He was the next LeBron James. He was that guy. Can the Sixers afford not to take a chance on him?
That's a good point, and I hear what you're saying, and you're right. Since the beginning of the year, it's been Ben Simmons all the way. And you know what happens more than not, and Mike, you know this as well as I, that when college players get that label to them, there's only one way to go throughout the season, and that's down. You know, no matter how good of a season they have, whatever maybe little black marks there are, or red flags there are, their stock is going to fall a little bit. And sure enough, that's happened with Ben Simmons, and maybe rightfully so. His talent level, his versatility is extraordinary in that it's so different. And if there's anything about the NBA right now, it's that it's a different style of play. So he kind of fits into that mold of what you're trying to catch, you know, that the Golden State Warriors do and that Oklahoma City does. So he's very, very interesting a player and a very interesting time of the NBA. So, you know, would they be wrong to pass him up? It would be hard to do, I would say, but whether right or wrong, that's yet to be seen. We'll see what happens.
Bob, we, you know, as soon as the Sixers get that pick, the next thing is, you know, there's already reports from some that they're leaning Simmons over Ingram. Some are saying, well, I think that. Is there an indication from you, since the NBA draft combine was last week and still going on, that they like one of these two over the other?
No, not at all. And I think there's more players even in the mix that they're going to tell. They talked to Brandon Ingram out in Chicago at the combine last week. Simmons decided not to go, so they really haven't talked to him yet. They'll get together with him soon and figure things out. But they'll look at everybody. And you know, it very well could be a case, and this is what's incumbent on Brian Colangelo and company. You know, if you look at those two and you see what they are, but then you look and you see maybe a Chris Dunn and you say, my God, that kid is a stud point guard in this league for 12 years. Well, then maybe you look to do something. Maybe you look to get out of that topic and you slide down a little bit or something like this. I really, and I think they're being totally honest, and right after the draft last night, I was able to jump on a stage and get Brett Brown to myself for like a minute and a half. Total honesty by him. They have no idea what they're going to do yet. They're going to use these next, whatever it is, 35 days or so. They'll use them wisely to get all the information they can and to make themselves experts in both Ben Simmons' game and Brandon Ingram's game and a lot of the other players out there also.
Bob Cooney from the Philadelphia Daily News. Did you get a sense of relief from Brett Brown? He looked like the drunk guy who found the hot chick when he had his arm around the guy at the draft lottery last night. Like, look who I found, everybody. You know, he seemed like he was legitimately just relieved by the fact that they finally got this.
Yeah, I think a little bit stunned too. I really do. I think he was stunned, and you know, this is what they had hoped for. This is what the plan was. But as we all know, in the 3 years that Brett Brown has been here, luck, you know, hasn't really been associated with the 76ers all that much. So, you know, to get it last night, I think was it's human nature to go into something, I would think, and expect the least, so that if something good happens, it's that much better of an outcome. And I think that's the way he went into it. And then when he found out he got number one, I really do think he was sort of shocked, relieved, all those emotions at once, and you know, was kind of caught in a place of what do I do now? So yeah, it was. I know the picture you're referring to. It was great.
Yeah, he really seemed like he was like, you know what, I'm the man for these next couple minutes. I'm the man up here, Bob. You know, obviously they have the two deeper picks too. They have a log jam of big men. Does your intuition tell you something big is going to be coming in terms of a trade?
Yeah, I don't know. I possibly.
Do they take 1 year to see if these three guys can play together? You know, do they go that route and say, let's see if these three guys can play together? Or maybe four when you throw. I told
you that before. Yeah, and I think you and I talked about this before, Mike. I absolutely would. I would. Why not? Get them all together, see what you have, see what different rotations work, see how one guy dominates one way or who plays better with another. You've gone to these depths. What is the hurry? Take a look at what you have. Take a look what might work best with what. You don't know. Maybe a Dario Saric just has an awesome cohesion with like a Nerlens Noel or something, that it's something that you want to try out for 15, 17 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Jahlil Okafor and Joel Embiid are just unstoppable on the floor together and somehow find a way to play good defense down there also. I think it's incumbent upon you to take a look at that. I hear a lot of people saying, Embiid or Okafor going either to Los Angeles or to Boston. My scary thing with that is you deal him and Embiid, God forbid, can't get on the floor because of injuries or is hindered by the injury. Now you're moving forward with just Nerlens Noel as your starting center. Is that why you went to these steps, to have that? Of the 3 or 4 centers that you may accumulate, I think that's your least, wanted option. So I would be careful with unloading before you really take a good look at these guys.
All right, Bob, we know there has been a lot of positive news around Embiid. He himself tweeted last night that he will be joining the number 1 overall pick on the floor to get ready. So should we take his word? Do you feel that Embiid will be ready to go?
It's hard to say, because when you ask the Sixers, they say he's on target. Well, what's the target? Well, we know what it is, and he's on target. I don't know. We see him working out, so I'm working out the other day. I wrote it. He was shooting jumpers and landing on just his right foot, just to strengthen that up. He was doing some baseline moves, some drop steps, some baseline finesse stuff. His body looks good. He seems to be in the gym sweating every day. But, we just don't know. We don't know until he's out there playing 4-on-4, 5-on-5. I will say, and I've said this before also, that if he's playing 5-on-5 in the near future, get him out there. Get him playing Summer League. Let him play with the people that are around and see what you got. I mean, I would never want to risk injury to somebody, but I really think that it's time to see what you have with him, see what the other players, how they mesh with him, and get it going. Get it start going now.
I agree. Let's get him out there. Let's put him on the 5-on-5 today. He seemed like he's ready to go. He could dunk all over everybody, right? Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, Bob Cooney from the Philadelphia Daily News as the Sixers. And, by the way, 1 or 2, it didn't matter. Just one of those 2, right? It was a successful night, whether they got 1 or 2. 3, not so good.
Yeah, as soon as Boston came up, well, I was in the back room. So I found out an hour before everybody else. I was in the secluded room.
How hard was that to keep to yourself?
Well, yeah, they take your cell phone and they take your computer, so there's nothing you can do. So what they do is they just do the top 3 picks, because everything else just falls in the order of worst record, to best record or whatever. So when the 4 ping pong balls came out, you have 4 that come out, and whoever has that set of numbers, that's the team that gets the number 1 pick. So the first time they drew it, I looked down my sheet real quick, and I found it before they said the Sixers get the number 1 pick. So that was interesting. Then they drew the balls again, and it again came up a Sixers 4 set of numbers, but they couldn't get both picks, so they had to cross that off. But you had to get either the first or second, Mike. It wouldn't have been any good to get the third. You would have been in that position where, all right, what do you do now? Do you deal? Is this, that, and the other? It would have just been kind of more of a black mark than the happy feeling this city's feeling today.
All right, Bob Cooney for the Daily News. The Sixers have that draft pick, number 1 overall, June 23rd. You can hear it right here on 97.3. Thanks, Bob.
Mike, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.